Happy New Year, everyone! Welcome back to the channel. I'm Françoise, and I think this video is gonna help you guys make the most of this year creatively. If you give this watercolor painting routine, I'm going to talk about a shot. You're going to learn how it works, how I turned my skills around in a matter of weeks, and how you can implement it in your day-to-day. This is going to be most useful for those of you with some watercolor practice, even though a beginner watching this might find it inspirational and use it as fuel to progress. If you've been around a while, you know that I've rented a room that I turned into an art studio last fall. That was a few months ago. And because that room is quite large and well located, I decided to start exhibiting my work. But I had a huge problem. I had to paint 30 to 50 paintings in just a month. And back when I worked from home, not only did I paint mostly small paintings, I also had a hard time motivating myself to do more. So to be clear, this video is not about you having to put an exhibition together or paint a gigantic amount of paintings. This is just the reason why I came to create this routine. Because I knew that by doing this, I would not only fill those walls, I would improve it and have more to share with you guys, like this piece of art I'm starting just now. And that is where it gets interesting for all of us here. To achieve this task, and that is going to be the most important tip here, I went with the concept of painting a collection, and it started with a big idea. For example, I created this fall series of 25 paintings for a local fair. It's based on a true story happening centuries ago here in France. And later I moved everything around in the studio and I finished decorating it with this winter series of 23 paintings for the Christmas fair. And that is just based on painting snow and Christmas stuff. So in a short time, I just went through 2 painting sprints with no cameras rolling, just listening to podcasts while refining my skills. And it's been such a fun and rewarding experience at all levels that I'm starting a 3rd collection right now with this painting here. This, my friends, is going to skyrocket your skills and productivity, and you can adapt the concept to your own needs, level of skill, the time that you have, and your current inspiration. So first, you need to decide how many paintings you're going to do, what size or sizes they're going to be, and what it is going to be for. Is it just going to be for practice, or maybe decorating a corner of your house? Or maybe even make your own solo exhibition. For anyone painting for fun and learning new stuff, which may be the case for most of you, a mini collection of 6 to 10 paintings is great already, and they don't even have to be large or take forever. That's the thing, adapt the task to you and your own goals. My studio example is a little bit over the top for the reasons that I've explained, but when I put a masterclass together for you guys, I'm talking about the ones on my website, and I'll add a link to that in the description of the video. I'll typically make a few small paintings that fit under one theme, so you guys are able to get better at that thing for long enough that it moves the needle forward, but at the same time, it's going to be short enough that it feels actionable and not overwhelming. While when we create standalone paintings without a plan, of course, it's still going to be beneficial, but there's no real focus on anything special to actually improve or notice improvement. And that's why it's so important to pick a theme to focus your attention on. So it could be a subject like these lighthouses here, or exploring a specific color palette, or painting about a place like I'm doing with this new collection from my studio that's going to be about Norwegian landscapes in spring. You've got your big idea now and a sense of direction for your watercolor painting routine. So now the next step is going to go reference hunting, which I did here with my own photos taken in Norway years ago, and additional free stock photos I found on Unsplash, Pexels, and Pixabay. The benefit of a plan like this one is that you'll get more organized, more productive, more focused, and you'll progress faster. For example, with my first collection, I practiced painting animal fur, which was a weak spot for me before, and also more portraits, which I really wanted to do. With the second collection, I finally got to test using my Tundra paint set from Schminke on winter landscapes. It's something that I had wanted to do for at least 2 years. I also practiced painting things that I've always wanted to try, like this ripple effect here and whatnot. So the idea itself is a start and a lot of excitement, but you'll actually need to paint now, and a gentle way to do it is to start with colors. Picking colors is a step I never skip because it's going to do 2 things for me and you. So first is going to harmonize your paintings, make that choice once and then just paint. That's why here I'll recommend to go swatch your paints if you're a beginner or you don't have a bunch of choice so that you can better see what you have and choose from it. And if you are more advanced and you know what you enjoy already, you'll know what to pick, but maybe still try and quickly swatch your picks together to make sure that they fit with one another well. I've found tubes to be very enjoyable to use when I paint large sizes with collections because I can get larger amounts of paint quicker, but for smaller paintings, half pans are great still. The second big advantage of paying special attention to color picking when you paint collections is that you're going to be able to practice on building up contrast in your paintings. Because remember that in any artwork, with any medium even, it's going to be essential to learn to balance light tones with mid-tones and dark tones. Simplify it like this if it feels complicated. So let's say light tones will always be the white of the paper with watercolor and whatever highlights you're going to be creating. So now you just need to find some midtones and dark tones. I like to see midtones as my main colors. Here for my Norway in spring theme that I picked, it's going to be red, green, blue, and yellow. For dark tones, one darker color will be enough because you'll be leveraging color mixing. So any color that you mix this with will easily look darker. Notice also that the red and green I picked are noticeably brighter than the rest. Everything else in the palette is muted. And that's actually a personal but also strategic choice because red and green are complementary colors, which means that they pop very well against one another. That will make for eye-catching paintings, I'm sure of it. But they're also big in spring, so I want to leverage that to make sure that my paintings aren't overly flashy with a bunch of bright colors because I don't like that look in my style. But at the same time, I really want this brightness, this spring renewal kind of look coming through in a subtle but noticeable way. The third and last aspect of picking colors during painting sprints and having fun doing it is to stick to a limited palette. And I know you hear it on and on. A lot of artists talk about 3 to 5 colors and I second that because it's been working so well for me. Imagine how tedious it is to have to constantly make decisions about, let's say, what green to pick for this or that part of the painting and constantly switch from one color to the next. It's far better to limit that choice and just mix the few colors you have to one another to create more colors. And if you are in the early stages of your journey and you have no idea about what color mixing does and how to actually mix colors, what I could recommend is to paint a chart like this, where you'll mix 2 colors together and see what they look like, and do this with the entire set. I have an old video about this that I can link in the description for you. Painting a collection will help you practice color mixing as well while you paint. And if you need some guidance doing that, you may like to join one of my masterclasses I mentioned earlier, or my Patreon to learn from this painting here and many others I have there in real time and with my voiceover. And I'll link that in the description as well. The difference is that my masterclasses are mini collections, so that's really the collection experience that you have there with all the steps. While Patreon is just a bunch of paintings that are not related to each other. You get to choose from all of them depending on the tier that you've joined. That gives you access to more or less of them. Paper now, because paper is more important than the paints in general. And you're watching this because you want to improve, so make sure that your supplies support you and that it's not the other way around. A lot of people, especially when they start watercolor painting, use cellulose watercolor paper because they are so much more affordable than this type here, which is 100% cotton paper. That one is pricey, and I wasn't thrilled to pay for my first block, to be honest, years ago. But when I tried it, there was no going back, and over the years I've done my best to make room financially to buy these. I can't fathom using the other kind anymore, and I'm confident voicing it because so many other artists agree with how game-changing paper is, and it would be dishonest from me not to stress this. But at the very least, if for you investing in this type of paper is out of the question right now, I will suggest to at least try it once from a sample or something. And if you do take the leap later, go for brands like Arche or Beohong, 100% cotton, cold press. It's much better than hot press, by the way. It dries less fast. And for the weight, 300 grams per square meter is great. All of that will help with your watercolor practice. You can also paint on wet with the best results. You can add layers without fear to ruin the paper or anything. Even colors respond differently to high quality papers. They look better and they spread better. Painting on small sizes that you've cut out of a bigger sheet is a great strategy to practice on that type without breaking the bank. So that's what I was doing in the beginning. Another thing I make sure to do when painting my collections is to shop for whatever might be missing before I start, just so I don't get interrupted in my flow. I know I've got everything I need and the painting sprint can begin. So if you're tackling a small themed painting series, it should be fairly quick and easy to organize. For my bigger ones with 20 paintings or more, I like to split the paintings in subcategories, mini themes inside of one bigger theme, like Norway forests, Norway mountains, Norway architecture. You get the point. It helps break everything down into smaller tasks. It's not boring, and as you can imagine, the final collection looks amazing and you learn a lot in the process. So this is how this first painting turned out, with just the right amount of bright colors that I kept under control to match my taste, thanks to more muted ones. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this routine, and I hope you implement it this year. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new video. Bye guys!